There's another crushing blow to our export industry this morning. China appearing to confirm a block on Aussie coal imports worth a staggering $14 billion a year to our economy. It is the latest twist in the worsening trade war with Beijing. And to discuss, I'm joined by Shadow Minister for Government Services, Bill Shorten, and Triple M's Gus Wallen. Good morning to you both. Bill, you first. Aussie coal blocked indefinitely from entering China. That's a dramatic escalation, isn't it? How do we respond now?
Oh, well, I expect the Morrison government's going to appeal to the World Trade Organisation, who help arbitrate in trade disputes. I just think that we've just got to buckle up for the long haul, don't we? I think it is important to remember that China's pursuing a pretty tough attitude with a range of countries, from Denmark through to India through to Australia. So perhaps, I mean, you can't do it with coal, but one thing we can do is we can buy a bit more Australian this Christmas when we're in the shopping aisles, from wine to seafood. But I just think we've got to buckle up and go the distance.
Iron ore's our saving grace at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the demand for iron ore is enormous, and no doubt China may complain about the price, but they still keep buying it. I think what we have to do is diversify our markets, try and improve relations with China, but we've also got to, I think, stand on our own 2 feet more and not just be a country who deals with one customer.
Gus,
so
sorry, carry on.
No, we just got to try and right our relationship with China, but also stand on our own 2 feet.
Gus, are we being too soft, do you think?
I think at times we probably have been, but this is an opportunity, like Bill said, to put a line in the sand and say, righto, you know, we've got more customers than just you, and we've got to stick up for ourselves. But, you know, they've been so dominant for so long, and we've probably let them walk over us a little bit over that time. So time for us to do a little bit of thinking. 2020 is throwing so many curveballs at us. This is just another one the government have to sort out early in 2021.
Exposed our weakness, hasn't it? Let's move on now to another issue of global importance, and that's tackling climate change. Reports today Labor leader Anthony Albanese is ready to commit to a medium-term target to reduce emissions, putting the nation on track to be carbon neutral by 2050. Bill, do you support this?
Yeah, I do think we should be at zero net emissions by 2050. Here's an interesting fact, Sylvia, that 70% of our trading partners, the farmers, every state and territory government in Australia has already agreed to that. So as we develop our policy, I think it's important that we plan for the future.
Do you support the medium-term target, though?
Well, obviously, if you're at one spot now in 2020 and you're at another spot in 2050, you have to pass through some medium-term targets. The policy will become clearer the closer we get to the election.
So it's essential to have a medium-term target?
I don't see how you can't, but, you know, we've got a long, hot summer coming up. We've got extreme weather events, and I just think that the more that we start thinking about the future, the better we will be.
Gus, this could upset the right faction of the Labor Party, though. Do you think Albo can afford that at a time like this?
Yeah, it's a tough time for him at the moment, isn't it? But, yeah, I think Bill's absolutely right. You've got to have, to get to the high point, you've got to go through a medium point. We've got to be bullish. I mean, you know, this country in particular, what we go through with our weather and what we're going through even at the moment in Sydney this morning, it's meant to be the middle of summer and it's freezing cold and raining. It's going to be that way for a little while. You know, it's about time we took this really seriously. We've got to be bullish about it. And I like the fact that we've got some targets that are at least having a crack at. The rest of the world, are they taking it as seriously as we are? I hope they are.
Bill, 30 seconds ago, we were talking about the importance of iron ore and coal to our economy. How do you balance that?
In terms of climate, listen, it's hard. I think what we have to do is convince Australians that if you're going to pursue policies which tackle climate, it's not at the expense of ordinary people's jobs. So that's one of the lessons I take out of the last election, that people have got to see where they fit in. And if they feel forgotten, well, then that's a problem for you when you're trying to advance the case on climate. You've got to remember that we've got to hang on to jobs as well.
Now, I want to ask you both something a little closer to home. It's something that every parent will dread, especially as we come into the school holiday period. How to limit your kids' screen time. We've got a special report on this coming up this morning, laying bare the huge challenges facing parents and some smart solutions too, including a little bit of tough love. Bill, your kids are a little bit older these days, but you must have been through it. Any tips that you can pass on?
Oh, I was going to say, if you guys have got any tips, I'll take some notes. And my youngest one now is 10, and so gee, when they want to get on the screen, they're more inventive than a group of POWs trying to escape the Germans in World War II. I mean, during COVID, my little girl's not up yet, so I can say this, but, you know, she'd be on the screen doing the schoolroom teaching, but was playing games with her buddies in the class. So I think last night I got the ultimatum that if I wanted her off the screen, I'd have to listen to her read aloud, and she's a very good reader aloud, I can assure you, last night.
Very good. It is such a big issue. Every parent is grappling with it. Gus, what's your experience in your house?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old and a nearly 18-year-old, and we just put a line in the sand about 5 years ago. My wife's from England. She's a school teacher. Tough love, you mentioned it. We just said, right, as soon as you get home, it goes into this basket. And Mum and Dad put their phones in the basket as well. They then got powered up in that basket. They got 1 hour after dinner, and that was it. No phones in the bedrooms, and you had to put your phone back out again at night time. And we actually bought little alarm clocks rather than using your alarm for the phone, because, of course, they use that as an excuse to have it on all night, you know, or have music playing or whatever. So, yeah, I've caught my kids with multiple devices at multiple times with all these apps open and stuff. It's the worst thing for them. We've never been more connected and never actually know how to have a proper conversation. So tough love, a little bit of parenting. Well,
let us know your thoughts at home. We'd love to know your experiences too. And just before we go, Bill, I have to ask you about your beloved Collingwood, Eddie Maguire, standing down as president at the end of next season. I don't think anyone saw this coming except for probably his wife, Carla. He got pretty emotional talking about it last night. How are you feeling about the end of the Eddie era?
Oh, it is an end of an era. He's been great for the club since 1998. He's given his supporters, including me, a flag. It'd be really good if the club could reward him in his final year next year with a flag. I mean, after all, I know Richmond won 2020, but was 2020 really a footy season this year? I don't know, but 2021...
It's the toughest season to ever win. Extra points to the Tigers this year, I would have thought.
Eddie's a giant. He's been a giant. He is a giant. He's a very good fellow. Great for the game. Great for the club.
It'll be 23 years in that job, so I'm sure there are a lot of emotions among Pies fans this morning. Bill and Gus, thank you both so much for joining us. And if we don't chat to you again, have a very Merry Christmas.
Likewise,
Merry Christmas
see you, Gussie.
To you guys.
See you soon.
See you,
Still
mate.
to come.